Good night, everyone. Doing tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J, a spiritual vine. I'm here to give you a short news and a word on tonight. And we're gonna start with Fani Willis. Now, her trial to disqualify her from Trump election 2020 case, hardened over effort to disqualify her. So without conclusion, without ruling. So a hearing is over whether she disqualified, the country district attorney, from the election interfering. The case has concluded without a ruling from the judge. Now, if in a romantic relationship, all this over her relationship with the special prosecutor who hired to lead the case and create a conflict of interest. Now, it's the relationship. This is how I feel. It's the relationship having affect her job or the case. If he did something wrong, she shouldn't be disqualified. Because her relationship shouldn't have nothing to do with the trial if they broke any rules. So if this been company money, he did something was out of line, then I can see. But if nothing went wrong, it shouldn't affect, broadcasting her relationship, you know, um, and disqualify her. So there should be new rules, because these DA and the judge, a lot of time they don't go nowhere to find nobody. Cause mostly their dating is on the job. So make new rules. Nobody can date the job, on the job. You know, uh, you putting her relationship on trial. Putting her relationship on trial. This is a distraction. You're putting her relationship on trial in the middle of her case. She was dealing with a case. And you're putting her relationship on trial in the middle of her dealing with a trial. So I request that Fannie Williams not be disqualified. I request that you place her case, you know, put her case back on. She was dealing with a case already until y'all start putting her relationship on trial. If the relationship didn't affect her job, didn't affect him doing wrong, illegal, being head case of her case, you know, um, she shouldn't be disqualified. If they haven't been spending company money and he ain't broke no rules, her relationship should not be on trial. You know, um, I I request that her disqualified be dismissed, and I request that she continue on dealing with her case that she was dealing with before. Because y'all got this case going on, a relationship, you know, didn't break no rules, should have nothing to do with her case that she was dealing with. Unless they broke rules, spending company money or whatever. But if they ain't break no rules, they ain't use no company money, she shouldn't be disqualified. And for the relationship on a case, you have to come up with new rules at the beginning that they cannot date on a job. So that's all I have for that. Request that she be this not qualified. Not qualified. And be put back on her case. Because they ain't broke no rules. They ain't broke no rules. They ain't broke the company rules. Because by the relationship that should have been told at the beginning. So So we're gonna talk about Israel. You're talking about Israel. The government he has spoke. He has spoke. There is no limit to the aid wall and Hodges. Israel, wants a temporary pause in order to retreat from the Hodges. Also discuss that are no limit with Haslam defeat. Speaking, letting you all know that ceasefire could not be happening anytime soon. So Israel government, give an update on the war in Hodges situation. He represent on sexual violence, because this still going on. And nobody they ain't do nothing to Haslam, and then he got Hodges at the same time, you know. So he represent, the sexual violence. Israel encouraged those that door that stated to send as much food as possible, water, medicine, shelter and equipment. So they're trying to end this war in a way that leave Hezbollah on his feet and save it from the war that stated that we want to see it. Now we got to keep that going. We got to keep the aid going because that's for the food, the drink, because they had a lot of them need food and drink and medicine. You know. So the Hodges situation, the sexual violence. We heard of that last year. You know, and Hasman had never been investigated yet. Hasman needs to be investigated. Israel Hodges with sexual assault. It needs to be represented. It needs to be talked with. So that's good to have the aid, food, water, medicine, and shelter and equipment. We want to keep it going. Trying to end with keeping. I will keep on praying for this war to come to an end and the Hodges to be safe and all be relieved safe. Hassan should be questioning and letting the Hodges go. He had to be questioned for the sexual violence, and let the Hodges go. So too, keeping the aid going for the people because they need medicine, they need food, and everything else. So we want to keep that going. So that was the Israel government. He represents that the sexual violence needs to be spoken of by husband, and that's correct. So I do have is the package was long, so they're gonna be two parts. Pharaoh dream. Now you remember God had went in a dream with Joseph. He was like 17 years old. Thrown in a pit and everything, and being thrown in jail, been slave, and he haven't not seen it yet, but it will come to pass. It 20 years later, it coming to pass. Genesis 41, 1 through 40. So when 2 full years had passed, so that means he been out the pit, he been slave in prison for 2 years so far. Pharaoh had a dream. Now he was standing at the river. Now Pharaoh had troubled prophet, dream as seen by the king of Egypt. Now both dreams involve a group of 7. So this dream gonna be about 7, back to back. So when out of the river there came 7 cows and sneezed and fat and glazing them on the reeds. Now Pharaoh recognized that God's spirit is with Joseph. Make him second command over the entire nation. And then text had with preparing for the famine. So they're gonna have 7 and 7. 7 years of abundance, with following 7 years of famine. So you're gonna have 7 years of abundance and 7 years of famine. So after them 7 years, the cow and ugly goat came up out of the river and stood beside those on the river. Now Pharaoh had seen seven more cows than these appearing to be starving. And the cows that were ugly ate up the seven sleep fat cows, and then he having dreams. This God put this dream in here. It might sound like the cows and all, but a dream always represents something. Through the surprise at the strange sound, he had in his dream a ugly cow of seven sleeves. Then he woke up. So he fell asleep again and had a second dream. And seven head and healthy and good were growing on a single stalk. So he dreamed about these cows. Then you're gonna have the ugly cows eating up the stuff. But they all represent something. Now Pharaoh had a second dream. Seven head and healthy good. Now the first dream, seven cows sleep fat cows. You know, so after them, the seven other heads of grain sprout out, thin and scarred by each wind. Meaning of the dream. Now 7 years abundance will be followed, by 7 years. Great famine in the land first in type of the stone. Now knowing as can bring incense wind and increase drying air of seven scrubbing heat. The seven the second sound set of seven head seen by Pharaoh looked like trying they had been run by this. So all this here mean something when it's gonna happen. So a lot of time when God send you a dream, you want to find out. I used to always call my uncle, to tell me what the dreams mean and stuff. Because a lot of times the dream means something. Things are happening and you don't know why because you ain't never figure out your dream. Last and dessert one, the thin head swallowed up the seven head and full head. Then Pharaoh had woke up. It had been a dream, and sometimes your dreams can look so real, and when you wake up, oh, it was just a dream. So Pharaoh had troubling dreams. Now both dreams involve groups of seven pleasant looking for image. Now the first cow, then a grain which are consumed by the second group. So in the morning his mind was troubled. Anybody mind to be troubled? You dream about cows and then a ugly cow eating up this one. Anybody be troubled. So you woke up and then he had two. Went back to sleep and had a second dream. So he wake up in the morning, he troubling. So he had sent for all the Michigan and wise men in Egypt, and Pharaoh told them his dream. But no one could interpret it for him. Now he helped the Michigan. The Michigan is smart, they're wise, but they can't interpret a dream. Because they don't have no gift to interpret a spiritual dream. Nobody but a spiritual person can interpret a dream. But you'll think they could because they were smart and they was wise. So he called the Michigan and wise men that was common in a palace of the instant ruler. Their job was description was included study art and science, reading the stars, and interpreted dream. So that was their position. They were supposed to know how to interpret dreams. But you know what? God fixed it that way. You know, God fixed it where Joseph is gonna be the only one that can interpret that dream. And Joseph in jail for a lie that the woman had did on him, and that's something, innocent people go to jail and the devil make it look so real and he's serving all that time for nothing. But guess what? God gonna get him out of there. God gonna make sure he the only one that can interpret that dream. Because he don't remember, but God put that in him at 17 years old. You gonna be in charge. You gonna be a ruler. You gonna be a king, and now it about to happen. Predicting the future and performing matches. See, that's what they're good at. See, they're Michigan. They good for doing magic and all this kind of stuff. But see, that's what they had got when when God had was doing all that power and stuff to release the Israelite. When God was doing power, the Michigan thought they was doing magic. That was real power, and they're trying to match up their matches on power with real power. So these men have power, but their power was Satan. Because see, when you call yourself have power, it's not gonna work because that's Satan power. That's Satan power. The only power you have from Satan that you do witchcraft and magic and all this kind of stuff. That's the only thing of work with that Satan power. That's with Satan power compared to God power, it's not gonna work. All that voodoo and witchcraft and magic, that's not from God. That's Satan work. And so they was unable to interpret Pharaoh's dream, but God revealed it in interpretation to Joseph. God revealed it to Joseph. Because God gonna make sure Joseph's the only one can interpret. Because nobody can interpret nothing unless God reveal it to you. See, all power will come from God. You might say you got power, I got a gift, I got power, it's not gonna work if God don't allow it to work. And just like Elijah and all of them back then, when they had to raise the dead and all that kind of stuff, they know they ain't had no power. They had to get on their knees and pray to God, get God hands up. God, look, I'm about to raise somebody. Please to help me. And they got to get God hands up. So God can help them out, cause the power, all power come from God. So they was unable to interpret. But the only person God was going to, have to interpret is Joseph. So then the chief cupbearer had said to Pharaoh, now today I am reminded of my shortcoming. Because we see they was in jail. They was in jail with Joseph. And Joseph still in there, but they had said out. But Joseph told them, okay, you getting out. Well, remember me. But since and they Joseph interpreted their dreams in jail. So that's why Joseph said, "Remember me." So now then Pharaoh needs somebody to interpret his dream. The Michigan can't do it. Now instead of them saying, "Oh, I know somebody named Joseph," they didn't say his name right offhand. They ain't when they got out of jail, they ain't even said nothing about Joseph. So Joseph and the chief cupbearer in prison together. Now he was released to remember Joseph. He was supposed to remember Joseph. Joseph helped him out. He helped two people out, had dreams at the same night. And he did not mention Joseph to anyone after he was released. He ain't released. He ain't said Joseph's name. And Pharaoh looking for somebody. He looking for somebody to interpret some dream. He went and got Michigan, and they don't know how to interpret a dream. Because they got Satan power. They ain't got God power. And so Pharaoh was once angry, with his servants, and he imprisoned meat and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard. And so somebody else gonna come along. I don't. Can you remember? It was two, and they're gonna talk about how Joseph had helped them. And that's when Pharaoh gonna say, "Well, get them out of there." So the cupbearer in prison encountered with Joseph. Now, who correctly predicted the meaning of the cupbearer dream? Now, he did not mention, this incident until now. He been out of jail. Look, he been out of jail for 2 years. 2 years, and he have not mentioned Joseph's name. Now each of us had a dream. Not the same night. It's two of them had two people had the same had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. Now Chief Baron had telling Pharaoh the experience him and cupbearer had a dream the same night, and Joseph interpreted. So Joseph, see, the interpreted dreams, God got to reveal it to you. Now a young human was there with us, the servant of the captain, of the guard. Now we told him our dream, so he know about it. The guard was at the gate. Now he told him the dream, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. When he interpreted their dream, he gave them the exact meaning of the dream. So they would describe Joseph as a young Hebrew. Now he was able to correctly interpret the dream of both cupbearer and the king baker. So and these turned out to be exactly as he interpreted. Them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was in power. Now Joseph foretold his restored to his office, and the other executed. So Pharaoh had sent for Joseph. Go and get him out of prison now. Go and get him out of prison. And he was quickly brought from the dungeon. And when he had saved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. He had to change clothes, he had to shave, and he had to do all this kind of stuff. But he about to meet Pharaoh. And so Joseph's big opportunity, came, and Joseph was brought quickly from the dungeon and pulled before Pharaoh. Now he knew something is big is about to go on. Because he knew God ain't going to let him stay in there too long, because God had a purpose. God had him there for a reason. God had you places for a reason. So he shaved and he got to pat his hair and all that before he had to stand before Pharaoh. But Joseph was ready for almost anything, because of his right relationship with God. Now, I was not with Joseph's knowledge of dream, but that helped him interpret the meaning. Now, it was his own knowledge of God. Now, he let him know. Now, it's not his power to interpret it. He said it was his knowledge of God. That means God give him the knowledge to understand what God sent him. Because, see, sometimes God put dreams in, and sometimes I wake up and like, what this mean? Well, why I had a dream like this here? God, he gonna have dreams that you ain't gonna understand, but he knows somebody, will understand. He got some prophets that will understand weird dreams, and weird dreams mean something, So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and no one cannot interpret that dream. I have heard it say that when you heard a dream, you can't interpret it. And he went and got the Michigan. They were supposed to be smart, they supposed to be wise, but they could not interpret that dream. God wasn't gonna let them interpret that dream, because they have the power of Satan. So So he heard about Joseph interpret the dream and then get them the meaning of the dream. And but see, he let him know offhand. You know, he said the knowledge of God will give us the meaning of your dream. So I cannot do it. Joseph replied to Pharaoh, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desired. So he let him know God only one that gonna reveal the answer. He let him know I don't know the answer. But God will reveal it to me to understand what the answers is. So Joseph made sure that he give the credit to God, and he should. And see, that's what we have to do. Excuse me, y'all. That's what we have to do. A lot of good things happening, and a lot of us have gifts, but we have to realize the gift will not work unless God give us the power to make it work, because the power comes from God straight to us. So Joseph make sure he give God the credit. So be careful to give God the credit and honor and glory. It's good. The power in God who reveal things to us. Just like in our storm. Just like me, going through so much, surviving, and all kind of stuff. But I ain't surviving. I ain't getting no credit. I don't survive just by myself. It's all God. You know, without God, you ain't gonna be nothing, or you would have fallen flat on your face, or would have got hurt a long time ago. So we got to give God the credit and give him the honor and the glory. So that's what Joseph was doing. And then Pharaoh had said to Joseph, in my dream, I was standing by the bank of the river. This began when Pharaoh recounting all his dreams to Joseph. So went on out the river, there came 7 cows. So he tell him his dream. 7 cows coming out the river. Fat one, sleep, and they glaze among the reeds. So Pharaoh had started explaining his dream to Joseph. So after them, 7 other cows came up, scrawny, and very ugly and lean. Now, I had never seen such an ugly cow. I don't want to see none, so that's why he been in trouble. He seen ugly cows, eating up each other, all on the land of Egypt. So when the lean, ugly cow ate up the 7 fat cows that came out first, so what a dream. That's why he woke up trouble. But even after they ate them, no one could tell that they had done so. They looked just as ugly as before. Then he woke up. That what a dream. What a dream. So I'm gonna come back with you with part 2. Part 2 is gonna get good. His dream gonna start coming to life. He remember when he was 17 years old, and he still don't know what his dream was. So and he interpreted the dream, but when he was a young boy, he didn't know he had a gift for that. Because when he was telling his brother about the dream, they gonna bow down. They will bow down. God told him he was gonna be in charge. Now he about to be in charge. So his dream about to come to light. So we did talk about Israel, the governor. We talk about Israel, the governor. The governor had no limit to the wall and hatches. So the hatches with with the egg, they need the water, they need their medicine, they need everything they need. And also the government with Israel, he represent the sexual violence. That needs to be heard. That needs to be spoken out. And they needs to they they needs to talk with husband about that what happened last year. And also he have to hide, so he had to release them order to for them to investigate him on the sexual violence. And we also talk about Fanny Willis. They're trying to disqualify her, and I request that she do not be disqualified. You know, because they didn't do that. They're fussing about her relationship. You know, they're taking her relationship to the trial, having a trial. And in the mix of her, you know, dealing with her own case she was dealing with. You know, and taking her relationship to a trial. And I feel like they didn't found nothing. They was using no company money. They didn't found them guilty of doing anything illegal. So I don't see why she should be disqualified and putting her romantic relationship on trial. So that's all I have for you today. I'm gonna come back with you a part two. Have a nice day.